Monster Level 3 upgrade. Hey guys, Tristan here from RC Bros 2000, and well, I'm as happy as I can be. So, in my last donation from Kyle, I had gotten the performance transmission from Proline. Well, at first I thought you couldn't put this on with the normal bumper from Traxxas. Well, because I had opened it up and tried to put one on, I just wouldn't fit. But when I was in the middle of trying to apply this to Pyro, I discovered that in the hardware they had the parts 2 mounted to a normal mount. So I am now putting on Pyro. No, not Pyro. Monster. There you go. At first I was going to put this on him, but when I found that out, all I really needed was a normal stock bumper mount. So I have that lying around. I just forgot where I put it. So when I find it, when I need it. But yeah, let's dig right in. To start this off, I'm going to be removing the rear tire rack and rear bumper from RPM, and they're held together with 6 screws. 2 on this side, or 3 on this side, here, and it's the same on the other side. Alright, with those 6 screws removed, the bumper and spare tire rack come right on off. I can set that off to the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the body posts, and they are held on with 4 screws, 2 here and here. Alright, with the bumper mount removed, now I just have to get those 4 screws that hold the rear shock tower on. Now before I do that, I will just quickly disconnect these wires and feed it through the shock tower. Alright, with those 4 screws removed, the shock tower comes right on off. Now all I have to do is remove these 6 screws. Alright, with those 6 screws removed, the transmission comes right on off. And now I can reach the 2 pins that hold the 8 arms in place. And they are located right here. Alright, with those 2 screws or pins removed, the suspension comes right on off. Just like that. Now I can set this up to the side. The suspension part's off. We now have the transmission, motor, and all that. First off, I'm going to be removing this RPM bumper mount. Yeah, I won't be able to use this. I'm going to have to replace this with a stock one because it's compatible with the stock bumper, not RPM. So this will go to one of the other RCs. And the bumper mount is held on with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. I just have to remove this nut to get this one out. With the RPM bumper mount removed, I will set this off to the other side for another upgrade for another RC. Now all that's left is to unscrew this screw to get into the transmission. Alright, now that we're in the transmission, I'm just going to have to remove these 2 screws. Now I don't know if I'm going to be needing them in the new transmission. They kind of didn't really describe how to where to put what, so I'm kind of on my own with figuring out how things go together. Because they didn't include instructions like Proline is known for. So that's why I didn't know about the compatibility. So, well, it kind of makes sense now that I think about it that they would do that. But oh well, I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet, so I mean, can't blame me for not finding it. Alright, so now that with the motor out, all we have to do is remove the 2 half shafts from the output. Alright, with the everything off, it's time to put this off to the side and open up the new transmission. Uh-oh, I dropped stuff. No. Screws. Bumper. No. Okay. That's cool. Alright, so let's open up and take a look. Alright, so we got transmission differential oil, which just comes pre-filled with. We got the transmission itself, as well as some hardware, which I had already opened because I was about ready to put this onto Pyro when I figured this out. So, yeah, so this is definitely going on Monster. Now, first things first, I am going to need to do a few things. First off, I'm going to need to look at all the stuff it comes with, just so I know what I'm doing, as well as that look feels beautiful. Alright, so give me 1 minute, I'll just look it over and see what I got. Alright, first things first, I need to attach the brace that holds it on to the chassis. So first I have to look on this, and it says front right there. So basically all I have to do is lay this on here. While holding it, flip it over and screw down these two screws. Alright, with the brace for the new transmission put in place, now we'll put the chassis back off to the side, and we can move back to the transmission itself. Now first I am going to reattach the drive shafts, and they are held on with a single grub screw. Alright, with the drive shafts installed, next up let's install the motor. And it's easily held down with 2 screws, here and here. Alright, with the motor installed, now I can install the dust cover. Now I did some comparison between this one and the normal ones, and there's not much of a difference actually. The biggest thing is, well, there's not enough room for the drive shaft, and this goes flush, so I don't know if you can actually use this with a little modification or not. I don't know, but I'm actually in the mood to use this one. So before I also install this, I'm very, very curious if I could actually dye this dust cover, because a transparent green would look sick on this. So I'll have to order a second one and take a look when I actually have money, but for now let's get this installed. And this is held on with 2 screws, here and here, and I'll have to make sure this piece is aligned just like that. Alright guys, with the dust cover on, we can now install it onto the chassis. And with that one piece there, all we have to do is just set it down onto that bracket we did, and then we can screw it down with the 4 remaining screws, here and here. Alright, so before, now that with the transmission is now in the RC, I can slide the new bumper mount, well, not new, I took it off one of the other RCs, into position. And then I will be installing, there we go. There we go. Now it's on. With this in place, I will be installing 3 screws, 2 on this side and 1 on this side. And the one on this side, I'll be having to use this little spacer right in there so that I could put it in place. Alright, next up, now that that's all installed, we can install this rear suspension. As we put it on, we're going to have to realign these drive shafts so that they slide into each other again. And then we're going to have to attach the A-arms to this post. Alright, with the A-arms and drive shafts attached, next we have to reinstall the shock tower, and it goes in like that, and it's held on with 4 screws, 2 in back and 2 in front. Alright, with the shock tower now installed, next up we will feed the wires for the motor through the center, and then connect them right here, black to black. There we go. and red to red. Now make sure you do that, or else your motor is going to be spinning the other way. Alright, next up, we'll be reinstalling the rear body mount and the mount for the freaking spare tire rack. And that is held together with 4 screws, as you can see. Alright, with the body mount and spare tire rack mount installed, we can now finally get the bumper and tire rack installed. And it is held on with 6 screws. 2 on this side, and 1 up here, and the same thing on the other side. Here as before. And here is after, guys. Check that out. Kind of hard to see on where it's at because the spare tire rack's in its way. Believe me, this is going to make this car freaking fast, even for a brushed system. I mean, I don't even want to think on how freaking fast this RC is going to be with even a Millennium system in here. But nice thing, a good feature about this is it's got more of the motor exposed, so more air can flow through it, as well as it makes enough room for a full cooling vent or a cooling fan. So I could one day put one of those in there. As well as it just gives a really cool effect on the side when you see that clear, whatchamacallit, the clear dust cover. Now what I want to try is I want to try dyeing this green in the red dye and seeing how that comes out. You know, transparent green, oh, that'd just make it all the times better. But I want to say, Kyle, thanks a ton, man. This upgrade, I didn't even think I'd ever get this transmission. And here comes Kyle, and there it is. Now, me and him, when I first out, we were heading like going back for thinking it, because at first, like I said earlier, we didn't know that you could put the normal bumper mount on there until I opened the package and found a little spacer in the hardware. So with that, and that was Monster's Level 3 upgrade.